Hello viewers, today our topic of discussion is deadweight loss. First of all, we will learn what exactly deadweight loss is. Deadweight loss is a loss of the economic efficiency which can occur due to the change in the free market equilibrium. The free market means the market without any tax or the subsidy. So we can change the equilibrium by the imposition of the tax, subsidy, price ceilings or the monopoly. So let's see in our free market graph, which is in front of you, you can see the point where the demand and the supply graphs are intersecting each other is the equilibrium point, and at that point we have the PE, which is the price at the equilibrium point, and the QE, which is the quantity at the equilibrium point. So let's move towards the next graph, which is the graph after the imposition of the tax. As we can see that after the imposing of the tax, the prices increased, therefore the quantity demanded also decreased. We can see the quantity from the QE point has been decreased to QT point, and the price has been increased now to P1. So P1 is the price which the consumer has to pay to the producer, and the P2 is the price that producer gonna receive after the tax. So what exactly is the P2 minus P1 is nothing but the tax, and that is the revenue that is going to government. And you can see that the triangle colored in yellow is the deadweight loss. So this is the loss that the market is going to suffer after the imposition of the tax. Now we will solve the question on the similar concept. In this question, we have given the demand equation and the supply equation. You have already seen this question in our previous video, in which we have solved this question to find out the equilibrium price and the equilibrium quantity without any tax. But now in this question, the government has imposed a lump sum amount of the tax of $1 per unit of output, and we have to derive the new supply curve, and we have to find out the new equilibrium price and the quantity. And we have also to check if there is any deadweight loss. If it is, then we have to find how much is the deadweight loss.
So let's solve this question. So here we are given by the demand equation P equals to 6 minus Q, and the supply equation is P equals to Q. Here you have seen our previous video in which we have solved these two equations to find out the equilibrium point, price and the quantity without any tax. So quickly we will solve these two equations to calculate the equilibrium point, equilibrium price and the equilibrium quantity. So to solve these two equations, we have to equate these two equations using P. In this similar two equations, we have the same P. So after equating these two equations, we will get 6 minus Q is equals to Q, which is 2Q is equals to 6. So we are getting the quantity equals to 3. So after this value of Q, we are substituting this value in either of these two equations. Now we are substituting value of this in the second equation where P equals to Q. So our P comes out to be 3. So this is the equilibrium quantity and the equilibrium price without any tax. So let's draw a graph for these two equations. So here is P equals to 6 minus Q, where the intercept is 6, as in the previous video you can see in the previous video. So 6 minus Q is our demand graph, and the supply equation is P equals to Q. So we have solved these two graphs. So after this, we have calculated the equilibrium point is where these two graphs are intersecting each other. So this is our price and this is our quantity. So this is our QE and this is our PE. This is the quantity at the equilibrium point, which is 3. And this is our price at the equilibrium, which is also 3. So now in these questions, we are given with a tax of $1, and it is asking us to derive the new supply curve. And in the next video, we will also see how to derive the new demand curve. So in these questions, we will derive the new supply curve. So previously we had a supply equation P equals to Q, and now he has imposed a tax of $1. So our price is going to increase by $1. So our new supply curve comes out to be P equals to 1 plus Q. And we are now asking us to calculate the new equilibrium price and the new equilibrium quantity. Now we will first draw the new supply curve here we can see that our intercept is 1. So in graph it will start from point 1 and our price has increased now, so our supply graph will shift towards the left. So our new supply graph will be like this. So I will denote this old supply curve with the S1, and this is S2, and this is the D1. So now to find out the new equilibrium price and the new equilibrium quantity, we have to solve the new supply curve and the old demand equation. So we have these two equations here. So we will equate these two equations on the basis of P. We'll get 6 minus Q equals to 1 plus Q, which is 2Q is equals to 5 and Q is equals to 2.5. So this is the value of the new quantity. So on the graph we can see that the new supply curve and the old demand curve intersect at this point. So this is our QT, which value is 2.5. So similarly we have to find out the value of P1. So to find out the value of P1, we can substitute this value in either of these two equations. So here we are substituting this value in our new supply curve, which is P equals to 1 plus Q equals to 1 plus 2.5 is equals to 3.5. So our new price comes out to be 3.5. Now we have to find out the value of the P2. P2 is a point where the new quantity is touching the old supply graph. So new quantity is this QT, and this is touching the old supply graph here. So we have to find out the value of this point. So how to find out this value of this point? We have to substitute this value of quantity in the previous supply graph. So here we have the previous supply equation, P equals to Q. So here we have QT is equals to 2.5. So our price comes out to be 2.5. So this P2 point is 2.5. So this whole is our tax, which is of $1, right? So now we got this triangle, which is the deadweight loss. So our shady triangle is the deadweight loss. So now in our question we have to find out the value of the deadweight loss. So in order to calculate the value of the deadweight loss is the area of this triangle. So in order to calculate the area of this triangle, we have the formula deadweight loss would be equals to half into base into height. So in this case, so our base is gonna be $1, which is 3.5 minus 2.5, and our height is gonna be this much, which is 2.5 minus 3. So our area of triangle is 1 into 0.5, which comes out to be 0.25. So our deadweight loss is 0.25 units. So in this question we can see also that in the previous, as we have the old demand and the supply equations, so this area above the PE point, you can see this area of the triangle is nothing but a consumer surplus, and the below area is this one, below PE is a producer surplus. So I'm denoting it with PS. So after the imposition of the tax, our price increased to P1 from PE. So the consumer surplus also decreased to this triangle, right? So our consumer surplus from this triangle now decreased to this triangle. I'll shade by this. So this is a new consumer surplus. And after the imposition of the tax, our producer's price is decreased to P2. Therefore, our producer surplus also decreased to this shaded area. So this is a new producer surplus. Now we have solved the deadweight loss using the new supply curve. In the next upcoming videos, we will solve the similar concept using the changes in the demand equation by deriving the new demand curve. So keep watching our channel. If you like our video, please comment and subscribe our channel for more updates. Thank you.